Okay, and once more from the top. Back straight, tits out. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and honestly, welcome to a video I have been so excited to record. Welcome to Fire Force. Okay, I've been talking about this series a lot in my past couple of videos, and we're finally going over all of the series, all 34 volumes of Fire Force. So I'm going to kind of be going through. It's nice on this series because it's another Kodansha. I've been doing a lot of Kodansha on my channel recently, which is surprising because I grew up as a shonen baby. And now I've evolved into more than just a shonen baby. So anyway, but the manga volumes of Fire Force don't have anything, like the back is exactly the same on all of the volumes other than the description. So I'm going to just go through this series, and I can actually talk about this because I have read this series to completion, and I am going to be talking about some minor spoilers, maybe some major spoilers, so there will be spoilers in this video. You have been warned. However, I will only be spoiling what is absolutely necessary. Everything else, I think you should just discover and experience on your own, especially if you are anime only. The rest of the series, you should just experience without being spoiled on it. So, with that being said, I'm just going to start going through the manga volumes and start talking about the series. Here at Volume 1, we start off with the main character, Shinra. And, Volume 1, here is the spine, and here's the back. I'll show you with a few of the other ones, but the spine is the back of the manga is exactly the same on every single volume. But it's funny because I got into the series by complete accident. Not so much an accident as it was just as on a whim, if you will. As you can see, here you go, the same exact back as number 1. I got into it on a whim because my local Walmart had volumes 1 and 2. And normally, if they just have random volumes, like not the start of a series or anything, I don't even acknowledge it. Unless I know it's a good series and I can get the rest of them easily. However, this one had volumes 1 and 2, the start of the series. So I was like, sure, why not? I've watched about 6 episodes of the first season of the anime when I was sick and don't remember anything about it, but I kind of remember a little bit that it was good, at least. So I was like, I'm gonna buy it. I bought 1 and 2, and I read both of them in the same day. I'm gonna just speed through these parts, whatever, shut up. I didn't mean that. Baby, come back. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. I don't kid about anything ever. I'm the most serious bitch ever. Anyway, what was I saying? I'm getting into this. I read the first 2 volumes in the, as soon as I started reading volume 1, moved immediately on to volume 2. And then at that point I was like, okay, I'm going to go to Amazon, and I bought 8 more so that I had the first 10. I had the first 10 volumes because just reading the first 2, I knew I was going to like the series. So I was like, I'm gonna dedicate myself a little bit more and see if I continue to like it. So I picked up, 3 through 10, which is roughly the entirety of season 1, if not just a little bit. It might bleed into volume 11. Excuse you. We're on this volume. I'm gonna talk about this real quick. The biggest and pretty much only complaint I have with this series is that this character and another character nearly look identical, and I had difficulty deciphering between both of them a number of times throughout this series. The anime helps because there's different voices. When there's no color in this manga and you just see 2 characters who look identical to each other, I'm sorry, I could not discern one from the other. That's like my only complaint with the series. Other than that, I absolutely loved it. It has easily made its way to like my top 5, current favorite manga series. And I could have completely missed this. I know a lot of people who don't know of this series and don't know how good it is. So this is kind of why I talk so highly about it, and why I talk so often about it, is because I think it deserves more recognition than it gets. I mean, yeah, it's got a pretty good fan base, sure, but it's not, like, in my opinion, it's not enough. So anyway, we're here at the 9th volume. The 10th volume, like I said, or like I was saying, is essentially like the end of season 1, maybe. Like I said, it could bleed into volume 11 a little bit. And then season 2 ended on a weird note, because for those of you who don't know, you can probably see if my hand's not been covering but this is by the same creator of Soul Eater. And at first glance, you might think that that's the only thing, is that it's just done by the same creator. Well, no, it's actually very highly connected to Soul Eater. It is kind of difficult to talk about this without spoiling, so consider this a spoiler part. But they ended with showing the moon. If you watched past the credits of season 2, on the final episode, it shows, I think his name is Choso, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I've read the series, and I have not watched the manga, or watched the manga. I have not watched the anime in a while, but I think his name is Choso. He is doing something or whatever, and it shows the moon up in the sky, and it's the moon from Soul Eater. So it's weird that they did that at that part, because that's not where it happens in the manga, and it would have been nice to, you know, get that part, you know, as it happens and at the right part. However, I get why they do it, to get people who have seen Soul Eater, who have, you know, don't know that this is connected to each other. So it's to get them to be like, oh, I've seen that before. That's the moon from Soul Eater. You know, I get it. I get why they do it. But they did put that into the end of season 2. And if I had to guess where they ended season 2, I would put it at about 2 more seasons. 2 more seasons would be what I would think we have left of the anime series. So there shouldn't be a lack of Fire Force content for the next couple of years, for the anime at least. The series is wrapped up. Obviously, it is a complete series now, but volume 34 only came out like 6 months ago, 7 months ago, because when I was collecting the series at the time, volume 34 was also available at Walmart. And I didn't know that that was the final volume, because at that point I was already 10 volumes deep, and I didn't want to spoil myself, so I didn't look at the cover. But on the cover of 34, which we'll get to, it does say, I think it says on the cover, but I know on the back at least it says the final volume. But I'm pretty sure on the front cover it says the end, or like the beginning of the end or something, so it's something like that. But it wasn't until I went back on Amazon to order the rest of the series that I saw on the description of the Amazon page that it said the final volume. So I was like, oh, okay, so I only have, 20 more volumes to get. And this series doesn't have a manga box set or anything like that in a bundle pack, and they're listed at $10.99. So these were $10, $11, $12 with tax a piece. And they kind of fluctuated on Amazon a little bit. I think I got some of them for like $9, but these were mostly all list price. So you do the math on it. I'm not super proud of how expensive this series was, but I was into it. I knew I was going to continue the series, and I just was like, I'm dedicating myself to completing this series now. So I eventually did, all in a very short amount of time. I would say I bought this entire series in about 2 weeks, because as I was buying them, I was reading them, and I could not stop reading this series because it is so good. You need to check this out. So what does this say? Yeah, this is not the one. I just see on the back here, it's showing something about the final arc, but I definitely think that we're past the point where season 2 ended, because we're getting into the final part of you know, last little chunk of manga volumes. Now, talking about the end, again, spoiler territory. It is difficult to discuss this part again without spoiling too much, but when it came to the final this is a straight up connection to Soul Eater, and which, since I got into this series before reading Soul Eater, which, mind you, I still have not read Soul Eater, I've only read the first volume, but Shinra uses soul resonance, and I just thought when I was reading it that was just a super cool move that he was doing. I'm like, oh, he's doing a new move, awesome. I had no idea that it was a straight reference to, oh, here's the moon, by the way. I didn't even look at the volumes myself as I'm showing you, but this is the moon that they showed at the end of season 2, which is from Soul Eater, so it also spoils it in this. Sorry, I didn't say that. I'm not looking at the volumes, I'm sorry. What was I saying, though? This right here is the one I'm talking about. Right here on the cover, it's volume 28. It says the beginning of the end on the book on the front cover, which I think is neat. They do the pictures and they have like words in the background. I haven't seen any manga like that do anything like that before, so that's really cool. But getting back to it, yeah, there is a huge connection between Fire Force and Soul Eater, essentially to the part, or to the point of that Fire Force is a prequel to Soul Eater. So, and that's really all I'm gonna have to say on that part. I think that's roughly about all of the spoilers I will have to talk about in this, but this is such a good series. The characters are amazing. They're funny. There's no downtime. There's no filler. There's no parts where it seems like it drags. It's just like been consistently good throughout the entire series. So I cannot recommend this series enough. It is absolutely amazing. And you can see on some of the covers, but especially this one right here, there's some fan service in it. You can't get around that. It's in almost everything, but it's especially bad in this series. So unless you're into that, if you're into that, it's perfect for you. Check it out. You'll love it. It's not my place to judge. I'm going to. It's just not my place to do so. But anyway, last 2 volumes here, and we're going to wrap this video up. Volume 33. And this is where things start to get real crazy. Well, actually, a few volumes back maybe, but this entire ending of this series is insane. And volume 34, the final volume of Fire Force. Does it say it on the front here? No, it doesn't. So I was wrong about that. It was the other one I was thinking of. But right here on the back, it does say the final volume. So that is the entirety of Fire Force. And I could talk about this series forever if I wanted to, but to keep this as spoiler-free as I can, I'm going to leave it like this. So thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Catch you on the flip-flop!